course, the Eagles really didn't have much need to go to the air tonight. Their best pass play of the evening was called back by a procedure penalty. That's when Nadasic went up top to tight end Shell. Down close, it would have set up 1st and goal from about the 4-yard line, but that play was negated. Other than that, we really haven't seen much passing activity tonight.
No, we haven't really, as you said, Norristown hasn't needed to. Council Rock maybe should have gone to a little more, as their running game was very unsuccessful. They went to the air 4 times and only had 1 completion and the interception. So we're seeing that they just don't have the weapons to match up with Norristown, and Norristown came out with a good defensive game plan against Council Rock. Obviously had scouted them well and knows what they're going to do. And so far, Council Rock not doing much as their biggest player, well, not in size, but certainly in talent and importance to the team. That's Jim Galtieri, has 9 carries for only 5 yards. So wow. Norristown has dropped him for negative yardage 4 times on those 9 carries.
The Eagle defense really showing something tonight. They're playing an impressive game here. Really a couple of breaks that went each way. This game could be much tighter than it is. It really could be blown open. It easily could have been 21 or 24 to nothing. Might have been 14 all. Been a very interesting game of key turnovers and breaks for each squad.
And Council Rock made the interesting decision to defer to Norristown at the beginning of the game as they won the coin toss, and Norristown elected to receive, and then consequently went right down and scored on that 57-yard drive and the 37-yard run by Carroll. So now Council Rock will get the ball, and it'll be interesting to see how they come out after really blowing a big opportunity at the end. As you said, the face mask gave them a lot of yards and put them in position all of a sudden with 2 timeouts remaining to score. But the turnover allowed them to not even get a field goal out of that. And that really hurts when you have an opportunity like that at the end of a half and the other team gives it to you when you're already down by 2 scores and you make nothing out of it. So Council Rock will have to put a good drive together here, if not only just to stay in the game, but to keep themselves mentally in this game.
Yeah, certainly this first offensive possession for the Rock will be key to their success in this ball game, one would think anyway. And Norristown kicker Albie Morano is set to go as soon as he gets the nod from the officials, and there it is. And it's going to be Gautieri back deep, along with number 22, Trevor Robinson. The kick is short this time. It's going to hit at about the 27, and it's taken on the fly by Trevor Robinson. And boy, I'll tell you, that was a gutsy play. Gutsy or stupid, I don't know how you would classify that. That really could have been a huge turnover.
Well, that's the kickoff, so you have to take that because the other team can, the kicking team can come down and get that. And Joe Milligan had every intention of doing just that. Milligan saw that that ball was going to land short and that the short man wasn't going to take it. So Milligan saw an opportunity to dive on that ball. And, of course, after 10 yards, it's a live ball and either team can recover. So a good play by the Council Rock special teamer to hold on to the ball.
You're absolutely right. 1st and 10 now. Go off the right side. The first back through, pushes off the initial tackle. That was number 23, Jack Smith, on the carry. And let's give Smith 4 yards on that play, bringing up 2nd down and 6 for the Rock. Line of scrimmage now is moved up to the 35-yard line of Council Rock.
So Council Rock that time tried another back, and they also ran up behind their big tackle, number 61, Steve Taylor. Taylor's 254 pounds on that right side, and they might go to him more.
Sean Highland, handoff to Gautieri off the right side, tries to turn the corner. He's brought down around the outside. Close to a 1st down. Let's make it 3rd down and about a yard to go.
And Norristown, the way they play offense, they just bait you into that big play. And the defense almost tempts you to go for that big play. You have to have a team that can match up with Norristown with the big play weapons, or a team that's just willing to be patient and pound it out, as their 2 losses have been. Their opponents have done in their 2 losses.
That's right. Both East and West were able to control the ball. And there's a 1st down and a whole lot more deep into the Norristown secondary and across midfield is the ball carrier for Council Rock. And that was number 9, the first time I believe Jim Lair has carried the ball tonight. And Lair with a big gain. We've got a player down on the field and an official's timeout for the injury. It's a Council Rock player on the far side of the field.
And Council Rock needs to stretch that Norristown defense out with the run so they can go to that short passing attack that is really the only thing that they've had success with or shown that they can compete with in this game. And that's the only way to get that going is to stretch some of those Norristown defenders out. Lamont Johnson, the monster back who just roves around the field making plays, and Lamont Johnson's their rover back. They use Lofton Thompson to come off the end and get pressure, and Council Rock is going to have to combat that with the quick passing attack.
You still have that player down on the field. That was an 11-yard carry that time by Lair. Good penetration. Had to be brought down by the Eagles' defensive backfield. Clock is stopped, of course, with 10:21 to play here in the third quarter. We hope that you enjoyed the homecoming activities, the crowning of the homecoming queen for the class of 1996. And the player is up under his own power and off the field. That was number 21, Dan Peters. Good to see that Dan's apparently okay, hopefully just a leg cramp.
Well, Council Rock's going to need all their backs so that they can try and mix it up on Norristown. So if they allow Norristown the key on one, they'll get nowhere.
Highland has his backs in the eye. 1st and 10. This time they go up the middle again to Jack Smith. Smith picks up a couple. Good defensive pressure that time. Looked like Ra-Ra Lusain up top on the tackle. And I'm going to get you a number for the player down bottom. Looks like two guys, Al Zone and number 69 for Norristown. I believe that is Mike Childs.
Childs has really solidified that Norristown line. He wasn't playing much earlier in the year, but I guess he showed something in practice, and the coaches decided they need a little bit of size on that line, and Childs has really solidified the interior. You don't see much yardage gained against Norristown up the middle.
Norristown likes that 5-man front, play 2 linebackers. And this time, after that 3-yard pickup, it'll be 2nd and 7. This time, Highland's got the ball. He spun around, spins forward, though. Omar Jenkins and Milligan in the backfield finally tie him up. That's a nice run that time by quarterback Sean Highland. I thought he was going to be tripped up at the line of scrimmage, but he winds up with the first down. Well, give him 8 yards on that carry.
And in this half alone, we've seen 4 different Indians for Council Rock run the ball. And that's the way they keep Norristown off balance. They're certainly not going to blow them off the line, it seems, tonight, which is what we expected them to do coming in because of their size. And they're not going to beat them with speed or trickery. They're just going to have to keep them off balance and not know who they're going to.
So once again, 1st and 10 for Council Rock. Into Norristown territory. That looked like a dive play at the goal line. That time Jack Smith goes up and over the right tackle. Picked up maybe a yard, maybe just got to the line of scrimmage.
Well, he was mountain climbing that time, and the mountain he was climbing was Jeff Fiss, who got low, beat his block, and really disrupted that play. It looked like they were trying to go behind Steve Taylor, their big tackle, but Fiss broke that up from the inside, and Smith had to hurdle him just to get what he got.
And there was no gain on the play, so it's 2nd and 10 from the Norristown 33-yard line with 8:18 to play in the third quarter. Norristown up on top 14-0. Highland rolls to the right, bootleg, plenty of room. That's going to be a first down. Al Zone over to cover, very close to the first down, and we'll wait for the chain to be brought back upright because that's right where the tackle was made. But I think that Highland made it to the corner there in time to grab the first down. Zone there on the tackle.
That's the smart play. It looked like he was almost looking downfield. It didn't look like a planned bootleg, but it certainly looked like he had the option to run it. And as soon as he looked downfield, saw nobody on that side, he took off. And what allowed him to get that first down was number 3, Lofton Thompson for the Eagles, stumbled as he came off his end. And I gave Highland those couple of extra steps he needed to get to the chains.
It was 11 yards on that carry and a Council Rock first down. They now have the ball at the 22-yard line of the Eagles. So the Rock driving on their first possession of the second half. Highland. This time the handoff is stopped dead in the backfield. I want to get you the tackler there. It was number 30, Will Gann, off of the nose tackle position. Boy, I'll tell you, what a stick.
Well, sure, Gann is super quick on that nose tackle position. That's how he dominates the inside. Not with the size, but with the quickness and breaking up plays in the backfield. And that time, Council Rock, only one man in the backfield, allowed Gann to know just where they were going. His only responsibility there is stopping the run, and it was real easy for him to know who they were going to.
And that was a loss of 5 yards on that play to tell you how deep in the backfield Will Gant was. Boy, I'll tell you, 2nd and 15. Again, the one-back set. Two receivers to the left. Highland goes to the right, looking for that lone man down the end. He goes up deep to the end zone. Omar Jenkins on the coverage, and that ball was thrown out of the end zone. No chance for a reception there. That time they had two receivers left and just that one man down the right side. Ortman was the intended receiver, but Omar Jenkins was step for step with him, and really no chance for a completion.
Jenkins hasn't been tested much this year, but when he has been, he's shown great coverage ability. We saw him on the play on the sidelines trying to make a break for the ball, in which Highland made a great throw in the first half for his only completion. But when Jay do go after Jenkins, he is always right on his man and doesn't miss time balls, doesn't try for the big play when it's not needed, just knows he has to break up those long pass plays and let his front do the work.
So now it's 3rd and 14. Highland with the straight drop, goes for the screen pass, little outside shot to Jake Smith, and boy, I'll tell you, great defensive coverage by the Eagles. That time James Kelly, along with that monster back Lamont Johnson, in on the tackle.
And Lofton Thompson there also came shooting down the line of scrimmage. He is their playmaker, and they'll put him on that end, but they'll shift him around depending on the situation. And Lofton Thompson is a great reader of plays and a tremendous tackler. He just does not miss tackles.
And that time there was a loss of 2 more yards on the play. Let's make it 4th and 17, and the ball's all the way back to the Norristown 29-yard line. And they're going to go for it on 4th and 17, down 14-0 in this ball game. Highland goes to the right. He's got men covered, goes deep into the end zone. Carroll up. I believe that's an interception. No, the ball is loose. We'll see what the officials call. It looks like incomplete pass is the call. Either way, possession will revert to Norristown. Damon Carroll was right there on the coverage. Actually, there were 2 men back, but Carroll in great position. Ball was a little bit underthrown, and really no chance for the reception. So it'll be Norristown's ball.
The athleticism of Damon Carroll, just amazing that time on the defensive side as he got back there and just went up and attacked the ball. The receiver almost looked like he thought he had a shot as he was coming back to it, and Carroll just cut him off with great position and became the receiver. Let the offensive instincts take over. Just attacked the ball, and I'm surprised he didn't pick it off. It must have been a great play by the wide receiver to break him up.
Council Rock actually setting up as if the line of scrimmage would be the 20-yard line on the touchback, but not so. The Eagles have the ball on their own 29. Up to Kelly in the middle. Ton of room. James Kelly picks up, looks like 15, maybe 16 yards on that first play from scrimmage, but there are whistles blowing and a flag on the play from the far sideline. And it's probably some type of motion play against the Eagles. Sure is. The legal procedure against Norristown. So once again, a big play comes back. But I tell you, Walt, if the Eagles hadn't shot themselves in the foot so many times tonight, this would be really quite an offensive display.
Oh, and they'd have big numbers offensively as well. So far, their drives have been fairly short. They haven't sustained anything, but that's because of the penalties have been killing them when they've tried to.
So instead of a big gain for James Kelly, we have a 5-yard penalty, and it'll be 1st and 15 now. The ball pushed back to the Norristown 24.
And again, Council Rock has to think, you know, boy, we're still in this game because of all the breaks they're getting, the unnecessary penalties and the fumbles, something Norristown really doesn't do much.
The 3-back set, they go to Carroll. Carroll is jumped on immediately and rolled out of bounds, probably for a loss. That time the tacklers, number 31 for Council Rock, along with number 25, and that would be Dan Yang and Brad Thomas, the tacklers.
And a good job of gang tackling. That's the best way to get Carroll. And from what we've seen sometimes this year, it's the only way, but they knew what they had to do, and as they stretched it out, the linebacker came up and put the hit on Carroll.
And they tried to go to the short side of the field there too, Walt, and that ball just got back to the line of scrimmage. Call it no gain on the play, 2nd and 15. This time they go to Lofton Thompson, and he's quickly double-teamed and tackled. And boy, the Eagles are not fooling anybody on this offensive series. And that time, again, 2 more players in on the play. That was Matt Malone along with Dan Yang once again.
Yeah, Lang's really playing a great outside fullback position right now. He is stopping everything to that short side over on his side, on the left side of the defense, and making Norristown going to have to make some adjustments.
Let's call that a loss of 2 on the play for Lofton Thompson. and make it 3rd and 17 for the Eagles. Thompson comes out of the game, bringing the extra wide out. Rich Hicks along with Joe Milligan at flanker. Nadasic looks up top. Good pressure that time. Nadasic steps up, throws over the middle. Had Hicks, but Hicks was in triple coverage, and Nadasic was rushed a little bit there, Walt. It was good pressure that time by the Indians.
Well, he showed some impressive composure there for stepping up into the pocket. The Council Rock end had beaten his man around the corner, but Nadasic just stepped up and fired a strike, really, right down the middle. But as you said, it was a little bit too high for the receiver, but you don't send too many guys out in the pattern. It's tough to get somebody who isn't in triple coverage. But Nadasic almost found him. The smart thing, don't throw the interception there, and that's what he did.
4th down, the Eagles have to punt, and Damon Carroll gets all of this one. That's a long driving punt back to the 40-yard line of Council Rock. Taken there by Ortman, who's got room down the left side. He cuts it back up the middle and is dropped by number 33, James Kelly. But a good run back that time, a 17-yard run back, 18 yards, and it's into Norristown territory. It'll be 1st and 10 Council Rock at the 42-yard line.
And here we go, as Norristown won the field position in the first half with some help from Council Rock. Council Rock so far has won it in the second half. We'll see if they can match Norristown's 14 points that they put up in the first half, but they certainly have been in good position to do it, and with just under 4 minutes remaining, have plenty of time.
So the Eagles, as Walt says, ahead 14-0 with 3:40 to play in the 3rd quarter. The Indians send a man in motion. Highland hands off to that side to Galtieri, who makes it around the end. It's going to be a hold on that call. That time they sprung Galtieri to the outside, but that's because there was a hold on that right end of the offensive line.
And it's a Norristown quickness. You try and get to the end, and Council Rock knows they're not getting anything on the ground or through the air. And as they see a man who has a chance to get to the corner, they're almost helpless to do anything but whatever they can do to get him to that corner. And sometimes you make the mistake like that and hold and trying to just get your team rolling, and instead it rolls them right backwards.
So it's a 10-yard loss on the play. It'll be 1st and 20 for the Indians. And this game is fraught with mistakes by both squads. Sean Highland. Little draw play that time up the middle to Galtieri. He's got 10 back. He's got 15 back. Looks like about 16 or 17 yards. Let's make it 17 yards on the carry. And that's a big chunk of change ground up that time by Jim Galtieri.
Boy, the Norristown defense just parted straight up the middle that time. Everybody on the flanks. And Galtieri had nothing in front of him but room to run. And Norristown closed in on it nicely, but not until he had a huge gain. Let's
call it 2nd and a long 3 here. Line of scrimmage now is back to the Eagle 35-yard line. Highland, the handoff to the left side. They bull their way into the pile. It's going to be close to a 1st down. The ball carrier that time, number 21, Dan Peters.
That's the first sign, excuse me, Jeff, that's the first sign we've seen this tonight from Council Rock of power rushing, of power football. And that's really a surprise because I think that's probably what they're most tailored to do. The problem is their backs are small. They have almost all their backs, especially their best ones, are under 160 pounds. So despite the size of their line, their backs can get bounced around a little bit. And it's unfortunate because they just don't have the people to finish off what they're probably best tailored to do, and that's run power football.
And they take a timeout to bring the chains, which tell us that it is a Council Rock 1st down. So the Rock moving the ball again here. 1st and 10 from the Norristown 32-yard line. And the clock is running with 2:12 to play here in this 3rd quarter. Sean Highland, the quarterback for the Rock. Again, the draw play up the middle to Galtieri, and he's not fooled that time. Big play by linebacker Al Zone. Al Zone filled that gap, Walt, that was so prevalent on the last draw play. Zone was there to stuff it for a loss, actually almost a 1-yard loss on the play. It'll be 2nd and 11.
Yeah, well, that's going to the well one too many times. The draw isn't a play that's meant to be used often or time after time. It's just to keep the defense honest and off balance so that they have to hold in and maybe get your passing attack rolling. But that time, our zone wasn't fooled at all because Council Rock sort of telegraphed that draw that time and went back to it a little bit too soon.
That was still too fresh in the Eagles' collective conscious there. We've got a timeout on the field for an injured Council Rock player. We'll take this break in play to once again thank the Norristown Area School District who brought you this ball game tonight. Mr. Tony Koya, the Director of Communications, along with Sam Galbraith, our Director, and his able camera assistants, Jeff Holland and Garrett Hickman. And we don't want to forget to thank our statistician, Greg Fry, for his great help this evening. It's always nice to have a semblance of knowledge about what's happened in the game you've just watched transpire, and we so often don't. So,
unfortunately, not too busy tonight, as the numbers aren't too big. So far, Council Rock hasn't really put together much of any kind of drive at all. They ended the half with an 11-play drive, but that, of course, went awry on downs. So now only the third play of this drive, and they've gotten some big chunks of yardage, but they've had to make up penalties.
That was number 34, Jim Galtieri, their go-to back who was down on the field there. Galtieri, though, came out off the field under his own power. Looks to be okay. I think we'll see him back shortly. Right now we have 2nd and 11 for the Council Rock Indians from the Norristown 33-yard line. Sean Highland has one back. Little play action. Looks up top. Gets the ball away, throws it into traffic, and that was an ill-advised pass. That time Highland should have either eaten it or thrown it out of bounds. Ra-Ra Lucene and Jeff Fiss in the backfield, and he really had no chance to complete that ball at all.
Well, he went to that side because that's where they had the man coverage, but they had the man coverage out there on Damon Carroll. And on the other side, Omar Jenkins was also locked up one-on-one until Lamont Johnson came over and allowed Jenkins to play almost as a safety. And on that side, they were running pretty much a two-deep zone with Jenkins dropped back into free man coverage. So they tried to throw to the side where they had one-on-one coverage to Carroll, but Norristown closed it down well as they realized where it was going.
So the pressure breaks up that play, and it's 3rd and 11 now. Once again, 3 receivers into the pattern, Fiss into the backfield. Highland rolls to the right, looks across the middle. I don't see any flags. And that was James Kelly on the coverage that time, and he was stride for stride with the intended receiver, number 23, Jack Smith. So it'll bring up 4th now and 11. Now, what do you do, Walt, if you're Mike Ortman? Your team's down 14-0. 1:24 to play in the 3rd quarter. Still a lot of football left, but you're pretty deep into Norristown territory at the 32-yard line.
Well, as much as I hate to see 5-yard passes on when you need 11 yards, they are not and look like they just cannot complete anything downfield. I think they have to try some sort of screen and get their linemen out and try and get Jeff Fiss out of the play. There is nobody on that Council Rock offensive line who can handle Jeff Fiss, and not once have they handled him tonight. But they only have one man in the backfield here, and they're split out wide. Looks like they're going downfield.
The quick drop, they go up top, man, single coverage, one-on-one, and that was offensive interference. Yeah, that's everybody's upset here, the Norristown crowd, with that flag, but that's got to be offensive interference. Number 1, Omar Jenkins, in great coverage on number 34, Jim Galtieri, and he just ripped Jenkins down from behind.
Yeah, they just sort of ran over him. Their feet got tangled up. You can almost call it incidental, but you certainly couldn't call it defensive pass interference.
No.
They're waving it off. They're waving off the flag. So there is going to be no call there after they've discussed it. They have ruled it incidental, and that's not a high percentage play. They go to their lowest percentage play on 4th and 11 when you need the yardage. I just think you're seeing a team that may even have a good game plan, but just doesn't have the weapons to compete with Norristown.
I agree. And on downs, Norristown takes possession of the ball. Good defensive stand there by the Eagles. That's sort of a bend but don't break philosophy. Rock gained some good yardage, but Norristown set up a good defensive stand on that last series of plays. And there's just no way they're going to beat Norristown through the air tonight.
Well, a team like this, you have to break you. You can bend all you want because they're not going to bend you that much. They're not going to pound at you and bend you in the middle. And then they're going to try and throw to that flanker, and that's just not working.
Goes up the middle to James Kelly. That's that 3-back set we've seen so much of tonight. And Kelly, a good solid carry. Looks like for about 10 yards. It's going to be very close to a 1st down. And there it is. The official says he doesn't need to see those chains. It's a 1st down for James Kelly. 10 yards on the carry. So the Eagles will have the ball now at their own 42-yard line.
I don't know if Norristown will use James Kelly as much in their remaining 3 games as they have in this game tonight. But he has certainly been the man tonight in keeping Council Rock off balance, and every yard he's gotten is straight up the middle.
There's Kelly again. Huge hole for James, and he's got 11 more yards. Boy, I'll tell you, the right side of that Norristown line just opened up 2 huge holes.
And Jeff, they're not trying anything fancy. The guard is locking off his man, and the center is blocking down on his man, and Kelly's just running straight up the hole. He doesn't have to do any moving, any dancing. He's just covering up the ball and running straight ahead, and before he's touched, he's got a first down. It's nothing fancy, and it just shows you how Norristown's controlling the line. But
that was great. Fabian, Fish, and Schrader all came out of there like rockets and opened up a huge hole. Damon Carroll, this time it's going to be motion against Norristown. That ball was blown dead before the play ever materialized.
Yeah, I think they shot out of there a little too fast that time.
It's got to be the 4th or 5th time tonight Norristown's been called for illegal procedure.
Yeah, and again, not the cleanest game, but Norristown's still dominating, and imagine how it would be if they had played a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, the penalties certainly are something that Roger Grove's not going to be too pleased about. So once again, the Eagles dig themselves a hole after 2 stellar running plays. They now are faced with 1st and 15, and the ball back on the other side of midfield. It's at the Norristown 49. They'll need to get to the 36-yard line of Council Rock to get that first down, and that'll be the last tick off the clock for the 3rd quarter. Norristown allows time to expire, as time is their friend right now with this 14-0 lead. So we only have to move the ball 2 yards to the other side of midfield, and the Eagles will set up for first down from there.
Well, it certainly makes you think about how this Suburban 1 National is shaping up when a Council Rock team that right now is ahead of Norristown as far as won-loss record goes can be dominated so much by this Norristown team. Makes you wish you had seen some of these other Council Rock games to see exactly what they had done and who they had used. But so far, Norristown looking like they're far outclassing the Indians.
Well, Walt, let's, for the moment, assume that Norristown holds on to win this game. Again, as we said at the top of the show, that'll leave Central Bucks East and Central Bucks West in a tie for first place at 5-1 in the league. Then you're going to have Council Rock, Truman, North Penn, and Norristown all at 4-2. So 6 teams within a game of first place. When's the last time that happened in the Power 10?
Yeah, that's for sure. Most teams there's usually one running away with it with undefeated record, and everybody else is just scratching to catch up to them and get within 1 game.
The Dosick is ready. Handoff goes up the middle to Kelly. They went back to the play that worked so well. This time, though, it only picked up about 3 yards, so it'll be 2nd and 12 for the Eagles. Of course, there are a couple big games still to come this year. Central Bucks East and Central Bucks West still have to play each other in the battle of the first place teams, and it'll be an interesting clash.
This Council Rock team has a short week as they have to play Central Bucks West, albeit at home, next Saturday. So very quickly they'll have to turn around and play the Bucks, and from what we're seeing right now, that won't be much of a game.
This time they go to number 3, Lofton Thompson, and Thompson drags defenders with him, and he's very close to a first down, Walt. On the bottom of that pile for Council Rock, number 18, R.J. Haynes made the tackle, along with number 2, Jake Worrell.
I really don't think Mike Ortman can have too many complaints about his defense tonight. The touchdown was a long run by Carroll on the first play, and there hasn't been a game this year, a Norristown game, where that hasn't happened in some form or another, albeit or whether it be a punt return or just a run from scrimmage. So you certainly can't complain about that. And Council Rock has held them and come up with a big turnover when they needed it. Their offense just has not been able to get anything going at all.
And that was 3rd and less than a yard right there, and A.J. Nadasic keeps the ball on the carry, and that's certainly going to be a first down. It was really about a foot or a foot and a half short from Lofton Thompson's run, and Nadasic bulls forward, picks up about 3 yards on the play and an easy first down. And once again, a Council Rock player down on the field, and looks like he's grasping at his right knee. Can't quite tell you who that is yet, but we'll get you a number and a name in just a moment.
And every Council Rock injury has been right in the middle of that line, and because that Norristown line is just pushing them, just twisting them around, and as they're trying to hold their ground some, they're just getting pushed around too much.
So as we tend to the injured Council Rock player, just a quick recap. 18 to go in the ball game. The Eagles shutting out the Indians. 14-0 is the score. We've had no scoring here in this second half, which has been largely uneventful. The Eagles threatening here. They just obtained another first down, and that ball is now inside the 35-yard line. Let's call it the 34 of the Indians.
Jeff Damon